Welcome to Martial Mentality, a martial arts inspired podcast. And we got the whole crew together again. Got Trevor Taylor back on the track and got Joseph Blackwelder as usual.
Well, not much longer. This probably going to be the next handful will be my last ones for a minute.
Trevor, you want to tell everybody in YouTube land what you got going on in your personal life?
I want to say you talked about it last time, but I joined the Army Reserves. I leave in February. I will be back sometime June, July, August, sometime around then.
Thank you for serving our country. And Joseph is actually a military vet, so thank you for serving as well.
Yes, sir.
So
I figured 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year to help me and my wife out, make a better life for ourselves.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You'll love it or hate it.
Nothing wrong with
and
that.
if I hate it, it's 6 years and I'll be done.
Hey, at least you did it. You know, it'll be worth it.
But
it'll be worth it.
Since we're talking about personal stuff, Joe, you're going back to school, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So
you go back when?
Not this week, but next. So only got a week left.
How heavy is your schedule going to be?
It's kind of stacked for the first 8 weeks.
So you might be MIA for a little bit too.
A little while. I'm gonna I'm definitely coming, but it's like I'm probably not gonna make every class every week. You know what I mean?
Maybe
like,
once, twice a week.
Maybe once.
Well, once I'm done with basic, I'm gonna try to, because I've heard AIT is a little bit more lax when it comes to stuff, so I might be able to practice some here and there. At least practice on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm the only one that life hasn't really changed. I'm still going on as usual, man.
Other than your hair.
Well, I mean that's about it. And the only thing that's really different, just got a few more martial arts gigs, you know. We're doing our thing at Winthrop.
Yep.
How many are you going to be doing for that?
So far, we got 3 planned.
Like 3 throughout the year?
So what we have going on, for those of you, myself and Joe, we're going to be doing some self-protection seminars at Winthrop University, a local college. And so there'll be one in January, one in March, and one in April.
That'd be good.
Yeah, so
I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun.
Hopefully it's a good turnout.
Also, the Queen Charlotte Cup will be here before we know it.
Yes, that's coming up in March. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head.
That is coming up quick.
Oh, I did tell Rain she's competing, so make sure she's ready.
Okay.
So our topic today, gentlemen, is going to be ego in the martial arts. So I'm going to start off with Joe. So Joe, I know probably out of everybody at the table, you've been training the least amount of time. But in your short amount of time, have you ever dealt with somebody, it could be a classmate, it could be an instructor, or somebody that maybe you don't even train with? It could be somebody that you've seen online where maybe you see the bad side of having an ego with your martial arts training, or maybe how you act towards people.
If anything, it's probably friends. Friends like, oh, you do martial arts, huh? Like, think you can beat me? You know what I mean? Like, I came across a video the other day, and there's some music playing in the background. There's a guy driving in his car, and he's like, you know, there's this whole stigma around people in the martial arts, you know, thinking, you know, when you're in a space like a store and you're thinking you can beat up everybody. Well, it's true. I can. Bring it on.
I want to say, I think I've seen that same video.
Yeah.
Or something similar.
Right. Look, the way I see it, if you're training for yourself, for self-protection, you're training to be a better you keep that ego in check. You leave it at the door. It's not about hurting people or being the better fighter. It's about being a better you. If you're getting in the ring, I think a little ego is necessary.
Yeah,
you kind of need.
You kind of need to. You have to know you can win, and if there's doubt, that's bad. That's very bad. You don't want to enter that ring with doubt. You know, you want to go in there knowing you put in the work. I can win. You know, I'm a beast.
I think, yeah, you could say ego. The word that comes in my mind for me,
confident,
pride.
Yeah, pride and ego are
they go hand in hand.
Kind of sort.
You know, I try to have pride in what I've done, pride in my school, pride in my style, pride in my instructors, and that yes, I mean, of course, you know, they're both almost synonymous, but you know, that ego of I'm better than you, I can win.
There's nothing wrong with being proud of something you do or something you dedicated your life towards or anything like that. When it becomes a problem is when you are boastful about it.
Yeah. I always say that there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how much ego you have is what determines that, I feel like, you know.
And there are some people, I mean, one of my favorite football players, Steve Smith, is probably one of the most arrogant, trash talking, boastful people you'll ever meet. But that man backed it
But I
up.
say, yeah, no, he can back up what
He
can do.
backed it
They
up.
say Michael Jordan was the most trash talking.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Larry Bird. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, I heard stories.
They say Michael Jordan apparently, he ended a couple people's careers. Trash talking them. Like
They say Bird was so bad that Bird
he'd tell you what he's gonna do and
he would go to
do
the,
it.
he would go to the coaching staff like of the opposite team and be like, "You got this white boy on me. You got this white boy guarding me.
Yeah.
Like what?
You better get better get rid of him.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. They said he was awful.
Oh man.
They say that Bird would like go to you and be like, "I'm about to go over here and I'm gonna hit you with this move," and then do it.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Tell you what he's gonna do.
Tell you
then
what he's
do it.
gonna do, and then go do it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh my gosh.
I can tell you, like some of the, I've never played for a school or anything, but I do play basketball. But some of the most, I've never been the most competitive, you know what I mean? But the most frustrated I've ever got from losing a sport, I was playing basketball. So I could just imagine how he gets in your head, you know what I mean?
So Trevor, what about you? Have you dealt with anybody or a situation where maybe the ego maybe got out of hand? Maybe it was ego in a good way. It's not always negative.
Right. True.
Well, I mean,
true that.
kind of like what Joe said, especially when I used to work at the bar down the street, I used to get the Karate Kid
Mhm.
and stuff like that. It's like, and I you just eventually just ignore them and whatnot. But I don't necessarily think it's like anything like ever directed to me, but we've seen it directed to other people we know and stuff. And it's like, or like people we know, and it's just like, what's the word I'm even looking for?
You size people up. That's a normal thing.
Oh yeah.
People size each other, but it doesn't mean like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I could beat you. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
no, ego. All right, good example. When we went to that tournament a few hours from where I live, remember?
Okay. Yeah.
They were very much looking at us like it was all mostly Japanese and Korean martial arts practitioners. We were the only kung fu people there, and they immediately were all like, "They ain't gonna do nothing."
Yeah.
right.
You
I
see
heard-
that a lot.
I heard one instructor. I'm pretty sure she was an instructor talking about you being like, "What's this kung fu do you know about Sanchin?"
Oh yeah. 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 You told me. Oh, you told me that story. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I happen to be. I was like, that's my teacher. Yeah, he also does karate. He's I think you had just gotten your fourth
Something like that.
Something like that. You're what, fourth, fifth now?
Fifth now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, okay. They immediately shut up. I think you beat both of them. If I'm correct.
I don't know if I did or did, but it's funny because it's funny you say that because a lot of times, even within martial arts styles, you see a lot of ego. You're definitely seeing it more online now because
Mostly online.
Well, everyone can hide behind a computer screen.
well, okay, you hate to put like this style versus this style, but you're seeing it, MMA is the best. If you don't do MMA, you don't do real martial arts.
Yeah.
Or boxing is
Jiu-jitsu,
the best,
yeah.
or jujitsu is this. And unfortunately, I hate the fact that it has gotten to the point where there's always this versus this, this versus this, this versus this. Why can't you train something and it still be good? It's got its limitations, it's got its strengths, it's got its weaknesses.
That's right.
And that's it. That's just what it is.
I feel like I've heard more ego-driven statements from people who don't train than who do train.
Oh yeah, and that's
That-
majority of it.
Right. The argument about styles is from people, most of the time in my experience, are people who've never really trained anything. They just see what they see and they're like, oh, there's no way they could beat him. Like when I trained over at the MMA place, I told them, like, I train. They're like, what do you do? Kung Fu. It's like, oh, that's cool. Most either they would just say cool and it's, cool. And then there was one guy there who actually does fights and he actually like Kung Fu, like it piqued his interest. Like, he's like, that's cool. He was asking about our tournaments and like how, it's a little different, but like they train, they fight, you know what I mean? Like they're more humble than the people who don't train, which it blows my mind, but
I just think,
you know what I mean?
so
Like-
I've had a lot of instances with ego, a lot of negative instances, but I've had some positive. So I remember there was one gentleman that I knew. He was so horrible. He was online and like so he was an MMA fighter, and he would post a video of somebody doing like a traditional martial art, like maybe they're doing a form or a kata or doing something like that. And then he would just rag on how this didn't work, how this didn't work. And then it was so funny because I would kind of go back and forth with him. This was when I was obviously younger. This was years ago. And eventually I kind of just told him, I was like, a lot of the MMA stuff that you're doing comes from these same techniques that a lot of these traditional martial arts are doing. That's why it's called mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that, kind of piqued his interest or if it shut him down or whatever, but like, you just see it online a lot of times where, like you said, you got a lot of people who are continuously either comparing this martial art to this martial art or even downing another
Just
martial
downing
art
one, yeah.
because
you never hear about it or see it as
or
much.
you don't see it as much,
Yeah.
and so
Well, it's media driven. That's just like a politic thing. I hate it.
it is. And when I was younger, it used to make me upset because I was like, oh no, this does work. Like I know it works.
If the right person on the internet came out and said Kung Fu's the way to go,
It would change.
it would change.
Oh yeah, no, there'd be a Kung Fu school in every corner.
That's the way
it would change. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. That's why you see. I mean, that's why MMA and boxing and those things, because they did a great job of publicizing that in the early '90s, early 2000s, and it blew up.
Yeah.
And
it's people's reasons for saying it too. Like a lot of people say in the street, or some people say in the ring. Like there's different reasons to join a kung fu or a karate school versus a boxing gym or a wrestling gym. It's just different things. Like what are your personal goals? What are you trying to get out of this?
And I also blame that you had a lot of people who did a lot of these styles and systems, and they weren't effective with their training, and then they got called out or challenged,
Mhm.
and they ended up getting beat up.
And it's because
Yeah.
they didn't spend enough time in it, or they didn't take it seriously. One of the two.
Or
Yeah.
maybe, no offense, maybe you just weren't prepared for ring combat.
Right.
That too.
Right.
You never think maybe that's not what you were training for, and that's
Yeah.
not what you were good at?
The guy I was working with, I feel like I never shut up about martial arts at my work. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they want me to shut up half the time. But I was talking to the newer guy, if he'd ever done anything, and he said he took one jujitsu class one time and absolutely hated it, because it was an ego driven person
Mm-hmm.
who had been training and just destroyed the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like gave him no chance whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
smothered him, choked him. But I was asking if he was interested in martial arts, and he's like, yeah, like it's not really so much just fighting or striking or wrestling, but like I just want to kind of like get more in tune with my body, figure out body mechanics and stuff. I was like, Kung Fu would be the way to go for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It depends on what you're looking for. Like you're going to get self-defense as well, but it's just different reasons. You know what I'm saying? So,
Another ego situation that I've dealt with is people who have been maybe they've taken their martial arts to an acting stage, or they've done something and they've become extremely popular. They think they're better than you because they have notoriety,
yeah.
Mhm.
and that's, oh my gosh, those people are the worst, unfortunately, because
I
it's
can
like,
think of a few.
it's like, really, like I'm glad that you did this. It's great that you put in this martial art, but well, just because you've been on a TV show doesn't make you like the best thing ever. You know
You're
what I
not
mean?
God's gift to humanity.
Right.
Right. And so like it stinks because I feel like some of the morals of martial arts have kind of gone by the wayside,
Mhm.
and people aren't teaching that stuff anymore. And so like that's why you see a lot of this showboating and boasting and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. It gets more views too.
That's true too.
Half of it's fake.
That's
I
true,
feel,
too.
Half
That's
of
I
it's
mean, we
true.
live in the influencer world where everyone's trying to, get that 15 seconds of fame. They're gonna do whatever they can, say whatever they're gonna need to say to try to get them views.
Yep.
But I think, I don't know, maybe I'm just old school. I just feel like,
Yeah. Why would you do that?
yeah.
Why would you do that? in
Well,
the
I
first
think
place?
you
Like,
need to balance it.
yeah.
Like you said, to do a martial art, you still have to have an ego. I'm sorry. There's no way to escape it. You have to have some confidence and pride
That's the point.
in what you're
Half the
doing.
point,
You
yeah.
have to. If you're gonna have somebody throw punches, kicks, or throw you.
Some people try start martial arts to. It's not anything to do with fighting. It's to build confidence.
Right.
That's one of the
Plain
reasons I
and simple.
started.
You know.
Yeah.
Right. So knowing you can beat up a good fair amount of people gives you confidence.
Well, you know what?
That's the ego.
I'll even say it like this: instead of
That's a
knowing
half
you can
joke.
beat up, maybe knowing that you can protect yourself.
Right, that's a half joke, but you know,
But I get what you're saying.
But there's some truth behind it too,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Like you're not like a slouch. You know, you're putting in the work for it. Like that builds confidence.
Yeah, and so you should have, if you're doing the training the right way, you should have confidence in your abilities.
Right.
That if something happens, I can trust my training
Yes.
to help me.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You should be like that.
Should. Yep. You should absolutely,
If-
because if you doubt yourself in that moment, that's bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, but then on the other end, you need to also make sure that you're staying humble enough to understand that yes, I can protect myself, but that other person or people, they're still a threat to me.
That's right.
And that doesn't mean that I am invincible.
Can't beat every. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
You ain't Superman.
That's like the McDojo episode we talked about that. Like you shouldn't instill confidence in people. Like there's a line there, like you should have confidence in yourself, but don't let that go out of control and
Right.
think you're, you know, the baddest
Right.
on the, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. I have to, you know, I've had times in my teaching career where you have to show ego, and then there's times where you have to quell that ego. You know, like particularly like when I'm teaching at Winthrop, I mean, you deal with some really cocky students.
Oh yeah. Why are you teaching this class?
I remember I had a guy, we were doing our final exam, and he, you know, my class is pretty easy, you know, and he was doing the kata work, and I think we asked him to do some self-defense. So I said, oh, you know, what'd you get out of this class? I always ask that class or whatever. Or what'd you think about the stylus system, whatever? He literally was like, yeah, I think it's pretty useless. I'm like,
Yeah.
so why are you here?
Right. Right. What are you doing here?
You know, he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think wrestling's better. Considering it's so funny that this same gentleman, even though he was, you know, he said these comments, was getting waxed in the sparring. I'm like, man, you got waxed, bro.
Right.
But you over here talking this trash, like, okay, whatever.
Right.
So, you know, I just let it go. But you know, you deal with a lot of people who come in class and they try to challenge my authority just
Yeah.
because I'm the teacher.
Right. Right. I've always tried to be pretty humble when it comes to that, but there is still a part of me who wants, like, I'm not going to outright like show me what you can do, but like there's a part of me thinking like, you know, I'd like to see, you know, I'm not just talking about you, I'm talking about anybody who's teaching something. Anybody. It's like, how did you wind up in this position? Because the other side of that coin, there are people that wind up in those positions that should not be there.
Oh yeah, no.
That happens. You know, like, but it's kind of like just, I always translate it to the, like, would you take fitness advice from somebody who's not in shape? You know, because they'll do it. They'll say, oh, you got to do, like, you ever seen the memes, right? Where it's like, there's a guy like eating his veggies and, you know, doing his push-ups. And then there's the guy on the side,
Eating
Like,
potato
eat-
chips on his couch.
like, you know, like eating too much of that's bad for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
seen some of them.
shut up. You know what I'm saying? That's how people do. That's how people do. They coach without knowing. And like, I'm guilty of it myself to a degree, but like, I try to at least teach what I know. And if I don't, then, you know, I that's where I have to understand, like, I still got a lot to learn myself.
One thing where I've had to use, I've had to do this a couple of times. So maybe you may have to do this, and you know, maybe Trevor may have to do this one time. You know, in the future when he, you know, you'll have a student that is always questioning what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
or they're always challenging you in some way, shape, or form. Where really you're not trying to like prove that you're better than this person. You're just trying to teach them. Hey, let me show you this. Okay, do da 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 da.
Oh, I can think of one person in particular. We had to do that a lot with.
Listen to what I'm telling you, because hey, I know what I'm talking about. I promise.
Right.
Do this. But it's like challenge.
Like, why?
Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and I want you to ask why, but like a lot of it is not like, well, that won't work,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
that's useless. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, wouldn't work in a real fight.
well, like
people
don't come with
say.
the ego. Like
Yeah.
let's have an open mind about what I'm
Right.
trying to tell you.
Right.
Then you have to eventually, unfortunately, as Trevor has seen, you'd be like, okay, now, let me show you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell that story. That the one of many of let me show you. We were still in the dance studio back in York, way back. Lord, I guess I'm old now. Way back in the day.
Yeah.
But this guy, we were doing this certain technique, and the guy kept saying, "Oh, that ain't gonna work. That don't work." And then he proceeded to lay him out with.
Yeah. You know, like it's
Yeah.
and it stinks because like when you're put in that situation as the teacher, two things happen, and usually they're not good. Sometimes
Yeah.
you either look like a bully,
Mhm.
you know, because like then it's like, well, oh, look at the teacher. He's beating up on somebody who doesn't have as much experience than him.
Yeah.
Eh,
Go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
saying, and clarify, when I meant lay him out, he didn't really lay him out like on the floor, but
Right.
he proved that none of that would actually work.
Like that whole saying wouldn't work in the street. The more I train, I get further and further away from it. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, after training, like it'd be easier to do half this stuff in the street.
Yeah, right.
It'd be easier to do.
Yeah.
Like you think you can fight, and it's like I could do whatever technique I wanted to do. Like that's the ego, right? Like that's the confidence. But it's true. Like like if I was to pick somebody who just doesn't train, you know what I'm saying, about my size, like but has no clue how to fight, it's like, could he beat me? Sure. Like, but the chance, that's all I ever look at training as. It's just increasing my odds.
You just hedging your bet.
Hedging my bet, right? Like, so the chances are better for me. You know what I mean? But like going against a fighter who's seen this stuff, now I might not be trying to do like, oh, that stuff doesn't work in the string. It should be like that doesn't work in the ring.
In the ring, right?
You know what I mean?
Again, like we've always talked about, there is a difference.
There's a big difference.
There's
yeah.
a difference, you know, like
One's a sport, one is life and death,
Right.
depending.
Right.
well,
And I get it. There's no rules in the streets. You can do whatever, you know, but it's like they think that way, but then when in the moment they don't know what to do.
well,
Yeah.
like I've always told you, you know, we've been doing martial arts for years, but I promise you, if I was getting ready to get in a street fight, I am not expecting somebody to sidekick me. I'm not. I promise you. I know that sounds crazy,
Right.
but that is not the thing that is going to pop in my head, or
Right.
somebody to throw a back kick at me.
Kick him in the thigh.
Right.
Leg
I'm
check.
right. I'm not
Yeah,
expecting
kick in the
somebody to
leg.
do that to me.
Yeah.
No, I'm just not.
Right.
Now, if I get in the ring, yeah,
Right. Right. You got to be ready for whatever.
I'm
Depending on
ready
your
for
rule
that,
set, you know?
depending on my rule set. But you know, but again, like these situations, these ego driven situations, I went to one extreme at one point where it was like, like this is not good ego, and then I went to another extreme where it was just like, okay, like I have to. I think at one point I felt like I had to prove who I was,
Yeah.
because you know, you walk in, you're trying to be humble, and like, especially like if you're not a tall guy, or you're not imposing, or you're quiet.
I try to think that way too. I try to think about like, would I take lessons from me? You know what I'm saying? If I saw myself and I never trained, would I listen to myself? So
That's
I
a-
try to set that example for myself. That's why I want to train harder. You know what I mean? Like, so I never want to speak on things I don't know. If I feel like I'm confident in it, I'll teach.
Right.
But if I'm not confident in it, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
You know?
That's something I've had to get used to, especially over the past 2 years now, teaching on my own a little bit. Like I've had to be okay with not knowing the answer and be like, you know what, I'll get back to you on that.
Mhm.
Or, you know, I don't know, but I can put you in touch with someone who does.
Right. Right.
And the thing that you'll probably deal with, and you're probably gonna deal with this in the army, is you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, I do martial arts," and you're probably gonna have somebody want to challenge you.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean, that's gonna. And you're just gonna be like, "Okay, here
Well,
we go."
I'm trying to get involved with the combatives programs with it. I want to get involved with that type of stuff. They
Yeah.
do competitions, all kinds
Right.
of like really cool stuff. And I'm like, that looks like fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
you know.
Yeah.
But you know, not everybody's gonna be respectful that you
No.
train.
I'd start training some Swajow
Yeah.
because they're going to grapple you.
mhm.
They're going to want to wrestle.
Yeah.
Well, I've been told
Or use your kung
At
fu
least,
and don't let them wrestle you.
at least Bender, because Bender just went through it this past year,
Yeah.
and he went to Jackson. And he said they didn't do combatives at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Really?
He's like, they shot everything you could think of. He's like, I got to throw a live grenade. That was cool. But he's like, we didn't do combatives at all.
Yeah.
So I'm
Interesting.
interested to see if I'm going to get to do that when I go through, but who knows?
Interesting. But I mean, like, we are in a field where ego is big. And especially when you run a school or if you're running a class, you have to be able to quell those egos. And you're always paying attention because you're gonna eventually have somebody that's like, okay, I gotta check this person. Or maybe it's a group of people. Because I've had it where it's been a group where it's like, okay, guys, like, you know, and you're not trying to, and it depends on where you train at too. Because like if you're at like an MMA gym, or if you're at a gym that like a boxing gym, you know, you can kind of check that a little bit easier. But like sometimes when you're in like a college or someplace that has a little bit more rules,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we've had to have come to Jesus meetings here before.
we have, but we can do that because this is our school. But when you're in a like let's say like when we're doing our Winthrop thing and we get there and we deal with somebody who may not be so apt to our teaching methods, we have to figure out how to deal with that and not be
It's some
rude about it.
yeah.
Oh, I
And
get
there's
what you're saying.
there's like some people get touchy on, like, you know, there's a weight class and then like male and female, you know what I mean? People don't like to hear it, but like a female does not like hit like a man does.
No,
I'm sorry, but it's
don't.
just they don't. And I'm not saying there's a lot of females out there that can't. They can hit you harder than some men can hit you. That's
Of
true.
course.
But generally speaking, like, you know, like if I know some people don't like when you take it easy on them, you know what I'm saying? Or
Mhm.
say like, give me all you got. It's like, I don't think you've ever seen somebody actually punch another person, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or throw another person to the ground. You know what I mean? Some people have never been in any altercation whatsoever, have never had hands laid on them,
Mm-hmm.
even a simple grab,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like I've wrestled with people or even grabbed people who, like, you know, it's a stick, and then others where like the moment you touch, it's like, this is a problem
Right.
already. You know
Right.
what I mean?
You know.
You know from experience. And like I think a lot of people don't have that yet. And when you're in an environment where you're training, you're not trying to hurt people.
Right.
So it's like, I think some like competition's good for that. You know what I mean? Go against somebody, or you know, like, you have to be humble because, like, even though we train we go through the motions, you're still not understanding violence. When
Right.
somebody really wants to hurt you, it's different.
Right.
So you have to, and here's the thing, you can train your whole life, and then you get in one altercation, one mistake, all that training, you know, that person is still dangerous.
Or it can even be competition. You
Mhm.
train and you know you're good,
Yep.
and you make one mistake, and then you end up getting.
That's what happened to me.
I mean, it can happen.
That's what happened to me.
It's a live by the sword, but you know, I mean,
Yep.
that doesn't mean that you're bad.
Right.
You just made a mistake at the wrong time, and somebody capitalized on it.
It made me feel bad for a little bit, but I thought about that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's why it doesn't really bother me. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Now I learned from it.
And here's the good
now,
thing.
now I try not to make it again.
That's right.
You
Right.
know
You
what
have
I
the
mean?
opportunity to say, okay,
Right.
I know that happens. I don't want to have that happen again.
Right.
Be glad
Right.
it wasn't a life or death situation.
Right. Because
Mhm.
it would have been done for.
You would be done.
Oh, yeah.
Done
Right.
for. Yep.
Right.
That's right.
And so again, you know, that's why competition is good, because it keeps you from some of those consequences.
Right.
But either
That's-
way,
Yeah.
but what you're gonna see, going back to, like I said, going back to ego, like what you guys are gonna probably start to see and experience as you continue to teach is, yeah, you're gonna deal with some people who are just flat out just combative with you for some odd reason.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, even if you don't give off that personality, some people just want to buck authority, or they want to challenge you because they see you as like almost like a notch on their belt. Like, I'm gonna knock that guy off.
I got good friends and good family, right? Like I had a couple after my fight, you know. Some of them didn't even see it, you know what I mean? But it's like some of them joking with me, other was like I think a couple of them actually might have thought this. Like, and again, my ego is going to come out a little bit here too, but it's like, you know, I heard you got like beat up, knocked out, whatever. It's like, you know, I lost this one, you know what I mean? No big deal. But then they're like, you know, maybe I can beat you. I had one spar with me. I was like, sure, I'll spar with you.
You beat him up, didn't
No chance.
you? See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, you know
Didn't
what I
even
mean?
like throw but one punch.
You know what I'm saying?
I just let them wear themselves out. And
You
then-
know?
just for fun. You know what I mean? It was all in good fun.
Of course.
But still, I think there was maybe a small part of them thinking like, oh, they lost. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Oh, you lost, so you're not good.
Right.
No, that's not what that means.
Yeah, I'm still not a slouch. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, I thought it was funny.
It's
you know what I
it's
mean?
kind of like, I've had to come to the realization when you look at somebody who is an athlete, even somebody who may not look as athletic, if they're training regularly,
Yeah.
that person's got skills that you don't have unless you're doing the same thing.
Right.
Mhm.
So you
Right.
got to start realizing that. So some people walk into a martial arts school and they see the guy like, man, that guy's not in good shape. That may be the guy that waxes you.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll take let's use Air as an example. Air is a big man. Okay. Air has a shape about him where you go, that
Very
guy.
stocky.
Yeah, stocky.
If you don't know him or what he does, you might think to yourself, oh, he can't move.
right. He can't move.
You'd be wrong.
Oh no, that man's a lot faster than meets
Yeah.
the eye.
He's fast. He's
He-
athletic.
he
He's
showed it, yeah.
smart.
Yep.
But you would never think. And he's mild mannered.
Right.
And
Right.
so he's not over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when you meet him, you're like, man, this is a nice dude.
It's a dangerous guy.
But that
man.
guy will put you under the ground.
He'll hurt you. Yeah.
Yes.
Probably tell you, and he does
Without
comedy
having
and
to
probably
try
tell you-
hard.
Yes.
He does comedy too, so he probably tell you a joke as he's
As
dropping
he's
you on
beating
your
you.
face.
And so
Oh
like,
man, this is so funny, and I'll say this out loud, brother. It's so funny, man. Like Dwayne's newer, right? Like I've been here a few years, and I trained some wrestling, right? So I got a little bit of experience, not a lot, but enough, right? Dwayne's pretty new, and we've been training a lot of Swaijiao, and I can't lie, like I've been throwing him around a little bit. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? I'm trying to toughen him up and learn him a thing or two.
mhm.
But I'm not the best at teaching yet. I'm still learning myself. And then we got Ara in here the other day, and me and Dwayne went first. And Dwayne has gotten way better. He has gotten better. He's taken me down quite a bit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm just saying, typically he even told me straight, I was like, I'm getting tired of getting thrown around by you.
Right.
And I get it. When me and Ara wrestled, it was like right off the bat, like we stood, we felt each other for like out for a second, Ara just double leg, just boom, right on the ground. And then that kind of continued, right? Like, but later that day, as we was driving home, like Dwayne looked over, he's like, it was when I seen him like take you down, like it kind of felt good. Like, justice. That's why I was like, look, I'm not the best, man. I'm not anything special here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I thought that was funny.
I think, when you get in here, you start to go, man, there's levels to this thing.
There are levels to this game. I swear by
There
it.
are levels.
I swear by it. Any martial art.
Levels.
Your point sparring, you're like karate, your wrestling, jujitsu, the MMA, like box. There are levels to every single one, and a lot of levels too. It's actually mind blowing to me.
I think what happens to a lot of people, and this is where their ego comes into play. Again, the internet is so bad for this. You always see sometimes the person who's probably getting beat up is probably a low level
Mm-hmm.
individual. Even though they claim to be a high level,
Yeah.
they may not be as high level in whatever they're doing. And so then they get whacked. So you go, oh, well, everybody's like that. And that is not true.
It's not
No,
the case.
no, not at all.
You want the answer? Like if the world wants the answer, anyone can beat the other.
That's true.
Anyone can beat the other. It depends on the person, their level, like you just said, how much training they put in. Like, and then if you do that same match 10 out of times, it's not going to be like this one beats them 10 times. It like a lot of times if you hear in an MMA, or maybe not even want to use MMA, like any match, any sport, you'll hear the winner say like, I was the better one today.
Today, that happens a lot.
That
Especially in
same
martial
matchup
arts,
could
yes.
happen the next
Yeah.
day and the other person could win.
Yes.
Sometimes, hey, you had a good night's rest. You ready to go?
Right.
The guy next to you, maybe he didn't sleep well that night.
Who
Whatever.
knows? Yeah.
Next week, a few months down the road, they'll go again. It's the
Yeah.
opposite.
Right.
Too
So
many
it's-
variables,
So many variables. Yeah.
I love football, and so one thing I love about football is that you'll watch two teams play, and that's why I love the NFL because you'll watch a team that like, oh, this team is way better than this team.
Yeah.
But how did the lower ranked team beat the higher ranked team?
Yep.
All those variables.
I've been doing this a short time, but I've been doing it long enough to see this in wrestling, even karate, like the little bit of karate stuff I've seen, and kung fu, of course. Like I've seen people in each one of these areas that are not that good and have that, like, are overconfident and would get destroyed by almost anybody in any other martial art that's half decent. Doesn't matter the martial art. If they're good, they're going to wax you.
Right.
You know, but I've also seen like some absolute monsters in every area that are all dangerous. I've seen a wrestler who I would not even want to get close to. I've seen karate guys that I would never fight you for $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like in my head, I've got zero chance. You know what I mean? So it truly is the person, their level, the amount of work they put in, their commitment. I mean, size.
Yes.
You know, it all matters. Like size does matter in one way, shape, or form. It's always going to make a difference.
You know, I think, you know, again, with the ego, yes, you need a certain amount of ego, a certain amount of pride to do what you're doing. You should never go into a martial art or a competition or even a real life confrontation thinking, you know what, I'm going to die or I'm going to lose.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. You know, you need
Right.
to have some kind of confidence. But, you know, it needs to be realistic in the fact that, okay, like I have respect for what's going on and I know I can be hurt, but I'm going home today or I'm going to win this bout,
Yep.
you know? So
Overconfidence is, you know, bad as well. Like if you just think you're just going to breeze through, like no problem, that's a bad thing too. You have to be confident in your ability, but like cautious as well.
yes.
So
Yes. And you know, like it's one of those things where I do this sometimes. I know this sounds crazy, but maybe it's just me. I don't know if anybody else does this, but sometimes maybe before I think I might be going into a dangerous situation, I may go in my head, okay, I have to be ready to die.
Mhm.
And I have to be okay with it. And then I say, okay, now I'm ready to go.
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
You know, I may die.
I tried doing that, but my answer is always no. I'm not willing to die. Like, but I understand where you're coming from. Like, that's another. I always say skateboarding, but it's true. Like some of the stuff, like you jump off of, or you know what I mean. Like you can die. You know, just like a fight. Technically, you can die.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's like
can.
you got to be okay with the consequences. You know.
I'm
You
not
have to.
planning on it, but I'm like,
Right.
I have to accept the possibility
Right.
that
What's the worst possible outcome?
right,
You know.
right.
Yeah.
What could happen to me that could, you know, potentially hurt me? Okay, if I go into this full contact match, I can get knocked out.
Mhm.
You have to be okay with that.
Yep.
Mm.
When Israel Adesanya and he fought God, I'm so terrible with names. Alex Pereira. They both said that, like standing across from each other. It's like I'm ready to die, and then he fired right back at him. I'm ready to die.
I mean, it sounds
scary.
crazy, but it's the type of resolve
Woo!
that you
Two
kind of have
warriors.
to, you know, I mean, but I mean, you think about it,
you're about to join the army. Like
Mm.
you have to swear to it.
Same,
You have to
it's
swear to
the
it.
same concept. Like,
You have to swear
hey, I
to
got to
it.
be ready to die. I
Right.
could die.
Right.
You know, I could go to war. I could die,
Right.
or the base could be attacked. Anything could happen.
Anything can happen. Yep.
So, so again, with going back to ego, so what ways do you feel like, and this goes for anybody at the table, that you feel like maybe we could start to kind of maybe change the culture around martial arts where we're not having such negative interactions with people's egos?
Yeah, it's a tough thing. It's like it depends on the person. You want to just say, like, be humble, be respectful, but some people, words don't reach some people, like those people you're talking about. Like, I don't know. It's like it's never the answer, but there's always a part of you's like, okay, put the gloves on there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Put them on. Let's see. Like,
Sometimes you got to do it.
sometimes, you know, like I'm not saying that's the answer, but like some people won't listen to words, and like, but as like a mature person or a wise person, it's like, well, you know what? Then if you don't believe me, don't believe me. You know what I mean? You don't have to listen to me. Go somewhere else. Like, I don't know. It's a tough thing, you know. Just be humble, be respectful. That's what I want to tell people, but not everybody's going to listen.
Unfortunately, sometimes some people have to be humbled.
That's right. Life has a way of doing it over
Life,
time,
it does.
you know.
It does.
but I guess not for everybody. Like,
I remember.
Sometimes you are what life is putting in the way to humble them.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Right.
Trevor
Maybe they're
said
here
this.
for a reason.
we've had people come into school, and it's like, again, I said this earlier. Hey, let me, I'm da 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 da. They're not listening. Okay, all right. I'll tell this quick story. So we had a student. He came into school.
Is it who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, you'll know when I tell this story. Had martial arts experience. Very talented. Very, Hey, like, you just got here. You're not. I don't want to put you in a sparring ring right now. You know, let's work on these things for a little bit. Then I'll put you in a sparring ring. I want to spar. Hey man, you hadn't been here long.
Right.
Like, I don't know. What was it like?
Did this
a month or
person
two?
want to fight Lei Tai?
No.
Okay, it's
This
not who I'm
was
thinking of
when we were
then.
at the dance studio.
Oh, okay. No, I know exactly.
So I was like, hey, you literally just got here. I'm not saying you're not talented, but let's just give it a little bit. Just listen to what I'm saying.
Out of some of the places I've been to, not to interrupt your story.
No, you're
just,
fine.
Sorry, just reminded me, out of some of the places I've been, a lot of the places are get a little bit of training, learn the basics and learn that we're not hurting each other. We're sparring is not fighting. Some people don't get that. They want to come in and they want to fight. But now one of the places I've been, you want to come in there and spar? Come on in.
Yeah,
They do that.
And there's nothing wrong.
Nothing
with that.
wrong with either place.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Either place.
I just
Two
me
different ways of learning.
trying to gauge, because I've done it both ways, where I've let some people kind of get some techniques under their belt, then spar, and then now I'm different, where I'd be like, oh, you want to spar? Put on the glove.
Right.
I will say this, now that we're here in this space, I'm more apt to have somebody who's come in who says, oh, I want to spar. Okay,
Right.
put on the glove. You know.
I think it all depends on the person. Now, obviously, here is completely your call. If, what I would think is if I was training people and a brand new person came in, I think it depends on them as a person and their demeanor. Because sometimes you can tell where they just want to fight, or they I want to learn, I want to try to spar. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this was a young man, and you could tell he was extremely talented, very good. So it's like, okay, so I made a deal with him. I said, look, all right, we will spar. Me and you will spar.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, let's make this. Let's do it as a point fighting match, okay? Because I don't know your skill level per se, okay? And I said, if you beat me, I'll let you do all the sparring you want.
Yeah.
Okay. So I set it up for him. This is when Master Lewis was alive too. So
okay, I know exactly.
So I told Master Lewis, I said, Master Lewis, I want you to come over to my school. You're gonna referee this match. Now, Master Lewis is the man in the area.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting a scrub.
Right.
I got a man he knows
Right.
good martial arts.
Right.
So I said, Master Lewis, I want you to come over here. Could you referee this match? This is what I have going on. He said, Master Lewis with his his accent, son, sure. Come on, son. Yes, of course I'm gonna be there, son. He would say that to me, and I
miss that
really
man.
appreciate. I miss him too. May he rest in peace. And so he came, and I think you were there that night. So
yeah, I was.
So
I showed up. I think I showed up right before it started.
So we matched up, and I said, okay, I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let him get a point, just to see what he does. I want to see it.
Right.
Before and then after that, this is where the ego came in. I said, after that, I'm gonna wax it.
Yeah.
That's what I thought in my head.
Right.
So we started off a little bit. I'm just kind of gauging each other. Boom, he got me. Master Lewis called that point. I said, okay, the waxing is on.
Yeah.
I waxed him after that. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, didn't boast, didn't do that.
Right.
And then he was like, okay. After that student, I cannot remember where he went to a competition where he then lost a match.
Yeah. Interesting.
All because I was just trying to get him to understand, hey man, I'm just trying to coach you.
Right. Right.
I don't need to prove that I'm better than you. I'm just trying to coach you.
Right.
And I can probably get you to be better than what you are.
Yeah.
And he was, phenomenal martial artist. Phenomenal. I wish he was still training to this day.
Me too.
When you talked about there being levels to all this, I think it's important, especially teaching to try to recognize those levels, right? Like the other day I was grappling with Ricky, and he's pretty new to wrestling too. It's not really a size, like size always matters, especially in wrestling too, but like it's not just that, it's like he's just new to it, right? And I'm just trying to feel him out, let him know what it feels like to grapple with somebody, what happens when you go to the ground, try to get back up, that kind of thing. But Ara, our coach now, I was like, watch Ricky, maybe give him some pointers. And I'm doing that. I'm kind of like, I'm not really shooting for any big takedowns, but then Ara's like, no, treat it like a match, so that changes the dynamic. You know what I mean? So I feel like sometimes, like, if you've been doing this a long time and you're like what you're good at, and then somebody comes in like that, you can probably destroy them, right? But like it's important to recognize those levels, because of this, like you could hurt them, or it's like you don't want to hurt them, but you also want to give them enough to make them learn.
Yeah.
That's where the hard part comes.
Right.
Like, if I'm not giving you enough, you're going to get that false confidence, think you can beat anybody
Correct.
in the world. Like, there was a student here one day. I'm not good at, in my opinion, I'm not good at point sparring, but I was trying to work on my speed at this time, and we had a new student here, and it was like go boom, side kick. And then it was like 3-0, 3-0, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, wow, that was so good. I'm like, it wasn't that good. But like in my head, I was doing that not because I'd been training longer than this guy. It was exactly what you said. I was not trying to blast this guy, hurt him. I was just like, you got to respect the game. You know what I mean? Like, there's still way better people at me. I'm just trying to give you enough to realize like what you need to work on.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that was not ego driven at all. It's me trying to better myself and better you at the same time. That's all it is.
And I'll give you
Never
guys some
personal.
advice. When you're the instructor, you have to be in control, but like, you don't want to be so. In my opinion, this is strictly my opinion. Every culture and school is different. But for me, what I've been successful with is I don't want to be untouchable, where it's like, hey, you can't come talk to me, or
Right.
you're beneath me, you're below
Yeah,
my level.
nah,
And
yeah.
I met some people who have that air about them, like, Psh, why are you talking to me? Like,
We've
you're
met
not on-
plenty.
You're not on my level. Like,
Right.
who are you? Like,
Right.
and it's like,
It's like, why would you be that way in the first place? But then too, it's like, I feel like some of them, they feel like once they reach a certain level, that's it. It's like, I've reached that level. Now you don't continue to train, and so you go up the hill, and then without knowing it, like, so then you might not want one of your, like somebody to come challenge you because you're out of shape. You know what I mean? I've seen that. I've seen like people do that. They like reach, like, it's even running for an example, right? It's not, you can take anything, basketball, running. I've seen people who shoot pool. If you don't do it every day, you get rusty. That's just the way it is,
Mhm.
And like, I wouldn't want to be that, like, okay, I ran a marathon, now I'm just never going to run again. But I still think in my head that I'm that marathon runner a year later, and I'm not.
perfect example of somebody who does a good job that he could have an ego and didn't have an ego today. When my karate sensei came in here, nobody thought that man did martial arts.
Yeah, I was the one who greeted him at the door, and leg cramp. But I was nice and polite. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
But after he went in there and you started talking and you said sensei, I looked at Dwayne. I was like, you be respectful of everybody that walks through that
You don't
door.
know who walking
You
through
don't
the door.
When I
know.
was looking
Like,
at him, I'm like, that looks like Master Longwith, but I wasn't 100% because I've not seen him in a couple years now. That's what I was like, that looks like him, but I'm not 100%.
I didn't know. Obviously, I had no clue. I'm thinking it's a guy who is either interested but he also said, is Sifu around? I'm kind of assuming like he knows, but like either way, I would have greeted him the same. You know what I'm saying?
You don't
And
know.
I don't know, so.
Master Longwith's probably been doing, let's see. Oh, he's got to have. God,
Since the 70s, right?
40, 50 years.
That's crazy.
You should get him to tell you the story about the Psy.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, listen. That's who I need to get on this podcast. I think I'm going to get him on the podcast.
Dude, you should.
He has. Now, you want to hear some story? I didn't even think about it today. I was just so, it's so funny. even though I've known the man for 22 years, it was like seeing him come to the school today was almost like I felt like a kid in a candy store. Like, oh my God. This is
How do you like? How do you know him? What's the relationship like? I don't know.
Oh,
That's his karate
That's my
teacher.
karate
So that
teacher.
is your teacher.
That's my
Yeah.
teacher.
That's okay.
That's my teacher.
That's
He's
what I was
the one who
curious of.
started the Winthrop program way back in the day.
Yeah,
Gotcha. That's the man.
That's
That's
the
the
man.
man.
Yeah,
Woo!
that's the dude. You
Right.
know, and you know, when talking to Master Longwell, he has so much, you know, martial arts experience, fighting experience, real and competition.
Yeah.
And when you hear some of the stories that he tells us, I'm like, okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
Because I've trained with you and I
Right.
know what you can do.
Yeah.
You're not playing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not playing. And so, like, you know, again, he is a great example of where this man could have an ego, but he doesn't. But don't mess with him because he will show you who he is.
Right.
He will show you.
Right. I'm as crazy as it sounds, sorry. As crazy as it sounds, I'm trying to be more that way. Like, I'm not even talking about fighting. I'm talking about like in things I'm confident in, like recording music or stuff like that, right? Like have a lot of arguments with my friends and stuff, but like you got to be humble. You have to be humble, but like when somebody's trying to give you advice on something they know nothing about but you have experience in, that's when it's like you got to shut your mouth.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't.
you
talk
just need
on
to
this.
shut up. Yeah. Like that bothers me so much. It's like, I want you to take a second and tell me what you've done in this. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a rude thing to do, but it's like, I do that now. It's like, show me something before you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like not if it's something I know about and you're the one telling me when you have no experience, that's when it gets on my nerves. If it's something I don't know about and you're just talking about it, like whatever, like, you know, we'll swap some ideas. But if it's something that I am confident in, that I've got experience in, that I've put hours into, that I like, and then you're just going to try to coach me and you have no clue what you're talking about, it's like, shut up. You know, that's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting leg cramps over here. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
You're good.
But you know, I think you know this is why you got to have you know, having a resume as a martial artist is a good thing, because no matter if, you know, maybe you've gone to tournament 20 times and maybe you haven't been, you know, you've gotten second and third place or whatever, or you didn't place or whatever. Nothing trumps the experience that I've been to competition X amount of times.
Yeah.
So I know how to, you know, train for this.
Right.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
no matter what the outcome was,
Yeah.
you know, because experience is still experience.
Yeah. Experience is experience. That's
You know,
right.
no matter what, you know, if somebody's been in the NFL and I'm trying to get to the NFL, I don't care what their level was, even if they were a practice squad player.
I'm going to listen.
I'm going to listen
I'm
because
gonna
you've
listen.
been there.
That's
I
right.
have not.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
So, you know, it can't be like, oh, well, you're not a pro bowler
Right.
or you didn't win a Super Bowl, so you suck. No, maybe I didn't have the same outcome as somebody else, but
Such a big videography thing. I don't know why it's like that, but it's like you can go to college and you can know how a camera works, and you can even have see, that's one thing a lot of people lack is the creative mind, but you can know all that and have the creative mind, and your client's still going to try to tell you how to do it.
Yep.
Yes.
That's so annoying. It's like, take your phone and go film your video.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like why am I here?
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Right. You know, so, you know, it's just one of those things where you just have to, it can be hard when you're the person in charge to keep your ego in check.
yeah, sometimes.
It can be really hard because then, you know, you have that one bad day and you just kind of go, you know what? I'm sick of Johnny today. I'm going to beat Johnny up. People do that. I've seen people do that. Where they just go, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm just going to take it out on you today because
Yeah.
I'm just having a bad day.
I've had to take a step back sometimes because I mean I am the senior student here, and it's like I don't want to make myself look bad and then inadvertently make you look bad. And I'm like, I just got to take a minute and go step away and go
Yeah.
do my own thing for a minute.
I was in a bad mood the other day when I came in and almost told Dwayne I didn't want to wrestle. Not because I think I'm some big macho and I'm going to hurt. I just like, I don't want to be frustrated.
Right.
Mm.
And,
Right.
and in that situation,
Right.
that's like the worst place to be when,
Right.
you know what I mean? You
Right.
You got to calm
Right.
down.
Yeah. So you got to keep your ego in check because you're right. Like you didn't want to be frustrated.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you were not feeling, and then it's like, heck, if it's even better to be like, if you're getting ready, maybe like we're going to do something combative and you're not feeling that mind space, maybe just say, look, hey man,
Right.
not today. I can't do it today. I'm just
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. You're
know?
you're in the space where it's okay. Like I get the the fight's not going to come when you're having your best day. You're going to, you know what I'm saying?
right.
There's that aspect, but at the same time, it's like it's okay. Just calm down, take
Yeah.
a breath.
Yeah. I mean, we're all human. We get angry, we
right.
get upset. And sometimes you lose control. You try not to.
And that's the thing about the teacher, like you're not allowed to have bad days.
Right.
You
I can't have a
you
bad
can't have
day.
Yeah.
You can't have
Every
a bad
day you got to come in here and smile on your
smile,
face.
be happy.
Yeah.
And so
It's tough.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
It is really difficult, because some days
Oh man.
you're just not feeling it.
My hardest thing is like when we've gotten so much better at this, but with the kids is like if me and her are not getting along, I can still like be boiling under my skin. But the moment I turn to my kid, I flash a smile and I'm able to like, what you doing, bud? Like, how's
Yeah.
it going?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough,
It is.
but I've gotten better with it. And
There's been days I've been I'll use the word seething
yeah.
with my spouse. When I say seething, boy, if you
gosh,
touch
man.
me, you will burn up. I am so hot.
Yeah.
But I walk in here, hey kids, how's it going? Let's go. We're gonna work out today. We're gonna have a great day. But
Right.
man,
Yeah. I don't do it enough, but I'm telling you, here's a good thing about this ego thing is like, if it weren't for other people, ego wouldn't really be a thing. But it's not just respect. You should be respectful, but always try to put yourself in their shoes before you have any negative feedback or just like think any type of way about the person. Like, everybody's got their own story. Everybody's got, going through different days. So try to put yourself in their shoes.
But before we get out of here, I'm gonna. This just popped in my head, and I think this is a perfect example of maybe having too much ego and then not having enough ego. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna use the Wong Jack Man and Bruce Lee situation. So those of you who don't know, Wong Jack Man and Bruce Lee, they had a confrontation, and if you've done any research on the confrontation, a lot of it is, you hear a lot of accounts of just Bruce Lee just whipping up on Wong Jack.
It's
Man.
honestly it's two different camps having two different accounts of
Right.
one thing.
Right. And to be honest, if you do the research, you can kind of come to a more realistic view of what really happened. So one says this, the other says that. It's just like any confrontation. Two people have a confrontation. You saw it one way, you saw it one way.
Yeah.
I personally think it was something more so in the middle.
Yeah, I would agree that too. But that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole. You know what? That needs to be one we do.
Yeah, we need to do that this year. We need to do the Wong Jack Man and Bruce Lee
Do it when I get back,
confrontation.
so
No,
I
we
can be in
can.
on it.
Yeah, it's that one might be a multi-parter because that's a lot. But
It'd be cool if we can get some people who are actually there.
well,
on it. We know. Well, actually, no. I don't think any of the ones that were around. They're all gone.
they're
now.
all passed
But
on.
like people, maybe some people that were students of these people be like, "Hey, you want to come on and talk?"
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Bruce
Yeah.
Lee was a more braggadocious, boastful.
We'll get a student of
Individual.
each, and they'll
Oh
That
God!
would be
Oh
cut
God!
it
We had
out.
you're like whoa. But Bruce Lee was more known to be more boastful, more braggadocious, more ego
It's Hollywood
driven.
too.
And Hollywood,
Yeah,
right. And of course, because of what he was doing and who he was around, and like you said, to be an actor, you kind of have to have this persona about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You are the bad.
you gotta be the baddest. You gotta be the man.
Right.
And then on the other end, you had Wong Jack Man, very humble, very, low key, very, I'll use the term more mild mannered,
Mm-hmm.
And so after their confrontation, you see one camp that is a little bit more boastful about what went on. And then the other camp, it doesn't really say much. But then, you know, when they try to say something about their side of the story, it kind of gets washed under the rug. It's kind of like, you know, like whatever, you know. Um, and so like sometimes when I think about that situation, I have thought in my head, I'm like, well, was Wong Jack a little bit too humble? Is there a thing of being too humble?
Yeah.
You know what I
there is.
mean?
Yeah,
You know,
there
it's
is.
like, was he too humble in this situation? Maybe he should have been a little bit more ego driven in some respects. Now, you know, he's passed on, and both of them have, and it is what it is. But like, sometimes I think about it because I know it's something throughout his lifetime. It would come up all the time.
Yeah.
This was something that followed him throughout his life because he, he lived exponentially longer than Bruce Lee.
right.
He only died like maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah,
It wasn't long.
No, it hasn't been long. And so like this is something that, you know, I mean, there were movies made about this, there were interviews that he did. And so like sometimes like I look at that situation and I go, well, you know, maybe he should have been a lot more open
Yeah. That's
about this
yeah.
than trying to keep it under wraps at one point. I don't know.
You can still be honest, but make people think one way or another just based on how you tell a story.
Well,
you
that's
know?
true.
Like that's
That's true because
based on being more humble. Like if you're humble and say like even if you this doesn't have to do with their story. It's just saying say you know he did win like in most people's eyes. Then, but if he's too humble, saying like it was a pretty close match, a lot of people will think about that in a different light than if he was like, no, I felt like I got the better of him. Like you know, I don't know. It's just how you spin it.
well, what happens to a lot of people is they don't realize in that confrontation, after their confrontation, and Bruce told his version of the story, and Wong got wind of it.
Yeah.
Wong was like, "Well, no, that didn't happen like that." So Wong actually challenged him
He
again.
put a challenge out in the paper.
He actually challenged, but a lot of people don't know that. Again,
Right.
there's that. Oh, you know,
Right.
it's Wong. You know, but Wong actually did put another challenge out that Bruce did not accept,
Yeah.
and so like again, you know,
It's kind of like winning on a technicality, right? What are people going to remember? You still won.
still
Like,
right.
You don't have to like boast about the technicality. You could either do one if when you're say now you're in the public eye, you could either say like there was a technicality and such happened, so technically I won, and then people are going to think about it that way, or you can just say I won.
Yeah.
They're going to remember like, you know what I mean? So now they're going to think about it two different ways.
You're
Even
right.
though both are true.
You're right,
It's
right,
like-
you're right. You could tell, you can have a situation, and both of those situations are told completely different, and you
It's
think
like-
one
it's
way
like
versus
the-
one way.
What do they call that little game back in the telephone?
Where you go through multiple people. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
see how far the story changes.
Yep.
Yeah. You're right, and so it just makes me think about that situation where you know the arena that we're in, what we're doing. You know, if I'm going to be learning martial arts from somebody or teaching martial arts, I need that person or individual. You need to have some pride and some ego about what you're doing, but you don't need to be so prideful and so egotistical that it turns people away and you end up showcasing a negative aspect
Right.
of your school or your style or whatever it is. And so, you know, I look for those individuals when I'm even looking for my friends. You know, I mean, I got some friends that are they're egotistical, but they're not in a bad way. They just have a high
Opinion of themselves.
opinion. That's they have a high opinion of themselves, and I'm like, okay, that's just who they are. That's fine, but they're still obviously good people. And then I've met some people that it's just like you're just a straight up bully. You
Yeah.
just want to put people down to make yourself feel better,
Yeah.
and I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
And so anything else about ego in the martial arts that we can think of? Any comments for our YouTubers, listeners out there who maybe some people are out there are dealing with situations like this, or maybe they're fighting, you know, this battle within themselves.
Don't be a douche.
Yeah, just be respectful, be humble. You know, everybody puts their pants legs on one at a time.
That's true.
We all tie our shoes the same way. We
used to joke about that, right? Like I can't remember who I heard that from. I think I heard it from the captain of my ship. They said like, you know, everybody puts one thing, pants legs on a sign. I was like, but not this guy. he jumps straight in, shoop, every morning, just shoop. But no, seriously, yeah, you be respectful. If you be respectful, then none of that stuff matters. Put respect first, then you don't really have to worry about it. But you're always going to have that bad egg out of the bunch. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always going to be that one person that think they are hot shit no matter what.
Or
Yep.
people.
Yeah, people too.
Or people, and so my advice is you can still have a great pride in what you do. You can showcase your skill, but don't always fall for the cheese. Don't always let people goad you into being out of character. It's really easy to do. That's why emotional control is super important in the martial arts. It's easy to get upset about something and then want to prove your point. Some people are not going to listen to you whether you prove your point or not. They're going to believe what they want to believe, or if they don't want to listen to you, it could be a student, it could be a friend or a peer. Maybe that person is someone who doesn't need to learn from you, or maybe you don't need to train with that person.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of different ways that you can, solve a situation, and not, like I said, do something that may damage your character or damage your school. Because, I've seen people who they're so hell bent on showcasing. No, this works. I promise you it works. Or this, okay, well, if you don't
Yeah.
believe me, go on about your business. Okay, it's all right.
Right.
But then sometimes, and this all goes back to decision making, that you have to show like somebody where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to show you why I'm the instructor.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you why I'm the coach.
Right. Right.
And it's hopefully to help that person learn, not to just make them look stupid.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So you gotta, your reasoning behind what you're doing needs to be, sound and things of that nature. But yeah, like you said, don't be a douche. Like you said, be humble. But you can also be fearless at the same time. Humble hearts, fearless fists.
Yep.
You can be both. So, but again, hey, this is one of those topics that you could just talk about for hours and days on end because there's so many situations and variables. But anything else before we get out of here, guys?
Nope.
All right. Well, this is Martial Mentality signing off. Peace.